For this week, we did do a newer film, so there are spoilers ahead.
Oh my god, what?
So if you don't want to be spoiled, please go see the movie first and then come back.
Hello, and welcome to Horror Legend with your hosts,
Legend.
and Chris. Oh, Deus meus.
Oh, no.
Well, the movie today contains lots of Latin, so...
It was Latin, right?
Yeah, he was speaking Latin.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, because he's supposed to be older than Romania, and he's supposed to be extremely old, so he spoke Latin
That makes sense.
when he was a wee child.
A wee lad
A wee Nosferatu.
in Transylvania.
Transylvania. I only think of Dracula Dead and Loving It whenever I watch any Dracula-themed, vampire-themed
It's always the comedy.
movie. Because it's, you know, Dracula Dead and Loving It actually follows the Dracula story pretty much on, you know...
That's hilarious.
To a T, but it's stupid.
But it makes it funny.
It's stupid, honestly. It's Mel Brooks humor. It's stupid. Yeah, if you haven't guessed, we did Nosferatu.
Yes.
we watched Nosferatu.
Yes, we did do Nosferatu, the newer version in 2024. Obviously, it is a remake of a movie from 1922 around. And it is also based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula, just like the original.
Yes.
But it is like a different kind of telling of the story.
Well, it's like more faithful to the original the book than
Bela Lugosi.
than some of them, yeah, honestly, than most of the movies that are called Dracula.
That's true.
Yeah, it does follow the story pretty closely.
I feel like Universal made a lot of decisions on those monster movies based off the books that were a little different.
Well, yeah, you know, they Hollywoodized some of it, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta make it interesting.
I think the only one of those I've read is The Invisible Man.
I haven't read that.
I've never read Frankenstein or Dracula, which I've always wanted to, still want to.
Dracula's a good book. Yeah.
I gotta do that. Those are
You
like
should do
the
that.
classic monsters. Plus, I know the books have a little more interesting story than probably what was put in
Yeah.
the movie
Yeah.
back then. The original Nosferatu is really good, though.
It is. I've seen it. Yeah, I like it.
This one was directed by Robert Eggers, who also did The Northman, The Lighthouse, The Witch.
I haven't seen any of those. I want to see The Northman only because of Bjork.
Yes, I still want to see that, and it mainly is because of Bjork.
Seriously, I sent you something today. There's an Instagram reel of an old Bjork interview where she's saying, "Yes, there are many creatures on this planet. There's giraffes and elephants
Oh my god.
and French people."
Not the French. Oh my god. I gotta love her Icelandic accent. That never dropped while she was making music either. Because a lot of times
That's what I love about it.
I love a lot of times you get a British singer, when they sing, they sound like they don't have an accent.
Yeah.
With her, it was accent.
It's like she
throughout,
put
and
it on more.
added, yeah, it added so much to the
I
music.
love it. Especially the, you gotta scream.
But
Go ahead.
Robert Eggers is a really good director, in my opinion. He did do an interview where he talked about how if he ever had to make a movie with cars and sailboats and stuff, he'd probably just end it all.
I don't think he should.
No, and like a lot of people now, I think the rumor now, or what has been confirmed now, is that he's supposed to be doing a sequel to The Labyrinth.
It is confirmed Labyrinth, which makes me slightly apprehensive, as that's like one of my top fives. I grew up watching it.
Oh, same. I grew up watching that movie.
And David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Mean, come on.
And that's the thing is, David Bowie obviously can't be in it because he passed away.
Yeah.
So I wonder, because Jennifer Connelly's still alive, I wonder if she'll come back for it.
Maybe.
Might be cool to see.
Yeah.
At least her. If not, because David Bowie can't at least have her back in it.
Yeah, that's true. It'll probably be her brother, her little brother that she saved, and it's always got to be that shit.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like-
He's older.
Sorry, I cynical. Go ahead.
But yeah, a lot of people have been saying, like, oh, you did Nosferatu, now you should do Dante's Inferno, or you did Nosferatu, now you should do Dorian Gray. Like, people
Yeah.
have just been throwing out random older storylines that he should do, which I could see a lot of them that they said he could totally do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, he directed this one, and it is starring Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter, of course. This is her, like, first big movie, pretty sure.
Really?
I know she was in a Kevin Smith movie called Yoga Hosers, which was kind of like
Never heard of it.
it was kind of in that world of Tusk Yoga Hosers. It was kind of all kind of together, which was very independent. But I think this is her first like big movie. Nicholas Hoult, who's been in a lot of things, who actually, funny enough, was in that Dracula movie with Nicolas Cage as the assistant guy.
I don't know.
Remington or
Renfield?
Renfield. Sorry.
Yeah.
Renfield.
Yeah, this movie has its own Renfield. But,
Yeah. Yeah, they did a movie called like a comedy Renfield where they actually
I never watched that.
it was Nicolas Cage did a good job as Dracula.
Was it actually good?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
it's funny. Awkwafina's in it too.
Okay, I'll give it a chance.
It's just like funny, stupid Dracula, like kind of
Yeah.
not as like funny, stupid as
Dracula Dead and Loving It.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, out in the park, drinking wine and eating chicken. I just love when he says
Because
that.
the perfect
Oh my
dance
God.
accent for that is to just add a V where a W would be.
Yeah.
A drinking vine.
Eating chicken. Chicken.
Bill Skarsgård, who does play Orlok in this, the basically title character. Count Orlok.
Dracula.
Dracula. He was Pennywise in It. We all know he was actually also in Barbarian too, which we still need to watch.
No, we haven't seen that.
But I have this feeling that he's like not taking over for Doug Jones, but he's kind of like becoming what Doug Jones has been, like a person who plays creatures and can really get into creatures and prosthetics and becoming something that's like not human.
Yeah, he has that same lanky tallness too.
He just has that quality in acting.
I mean,
too.
he can get it too, but otherwise, he can wear the clown nose. I don't know.
He's really cute. I mean, one of the best movies that I saw him in, and one of my favorites, is Atomic Blonde, because he was.
Oh yeah. I forgot he was.
He was really good in that. Loved him in that. There's Aaron Taylor Johnson, who started out in those Kick-Ass movies. He just was in Kraven the Hunter, that's supposed to come out soon, or is out now, I think. He's a pretty good actor. I've never been like a huge Aaron Taylor Johnson fan. I thought Kick-Ass was really good. Nicolas Cage is in those as well.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe,
God, he was my favorite. The second he came on screen, it was just like
he's such a good
so
actor.
good.
And he's also been in Eggers. He's been in The Lighthouse for Robert Eggers too. And then he's also been in like weird movies like Poor Things, which was.
I really want to see that.
I think you would like. It's like another telling of
it.
Frankenstein, and it's really good.
From what all I've seen of it, I'm sure I would love it.
But yeah, Willem Dafoe, distinguished actor, amazing actor, so good. Emma Corrin,
Corrin?
Oh, Corrin. Emma Corrin, who recently was in Deadpool and Wolverine as, Nova. Her last name is Nova. She was like a female version of Professor X, pretty much.
Okay.
The nerds might rip me apart if I got that wrong, but
I haven't seen any Deadpool. I don't know.
It's
or
just
Wolverine.
it's Marvel.
I don't.
It's all Marvel.
I don't care for those.
Cassandra
movies.
Nova, that's the character's name.
I like Nicole Byer. I don't care for those movies.
Which, like, understandable. I mean, they took over film for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just the overuse of CGI bothers me.
Well,
I understand why they're using it so much for those, but
they're still around. But I feel like it's at least petered off a little bit. That it's not as like foreboding on the film industry now.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a few of them.
I saw the X-Men. Are they
the
in
old
the
X-Men?
same? Yeah.
The
Are those
old
in the same universe? Is that Marvel?
X-Men is Marvel.
It is? Okay,
Yeah.
I like those movies.
Those old ones were technically not a part of it's a whole rights
Jesus
thing with
Christ.
different studios and shit. Now they are, because Disney owns all of that now.
Okay, I just love Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. I mean,
Oh, of course.
you know, come on.
Those are amazing. Like this, yeah. And then Ralph Ineson, who he
Isn't
plays
so innocent.
he plays the Doctor in this. I don't like. So he's been in a few movies. He's always played like kind of the smaller characters in movies.
Yeah.
One of the last things I saw him in was The First Omen, which I showed you.
Yes, that was good.
He just like he's also a voice actor who he was in Diablo 4. That was like one of his last ones too. Is he's one of the main characters in Diablo 4. But his voice is so distinctive.
Yes.
So like even playing a small character, it's like he commands the room with that voice.
He really does. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's just this weirdly deep, but also like, oh god, what's the word? Enunciated voice.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like some people have a deep voice like that, it can get garbled up and.
What's like a classical theater voice?
Yeah,
just
almost. Yeah,
enunciated.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
It's very, very brooding. But yeah, so yeah, that's the cast, the director. Let's get into it.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of distinctive. Gravelly voices. Bill Skarsgård put on a very strange.
Oh my god!
It was almost comical, but yet it wasn't. I don't know.
It was like
how to describe it.
You say like almost comical, but then like it's like also scary.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, and he didn't do any. There was no modulation or anything.
No,
it was just him.
Like
from what I heard. Yeah.
I think. In the sound design, they may have like echoed it a little bit and stuff and did whatever, but that's like him doing that voice, which is crazy.
Yeah,
because you look at him without the makeup and you're like, that voice came out of you.
Right?
Like, it doesn't seem like he could do that voice, but he does. Yeah, that voice is perfect for that character.
Yeah, and like the reimagining of Count Orlok is great too. It's I know some people kind of I think it took people aback with Dracula having a mustache, but
what's funny about that is apparently Robert Eggers did a bunch of research for the movie.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, would you not?
Yeah.
But when he's in his research, he's like, I didn't find a single lord that didn't have a mustache.
Exactly. And even the original. Like Vlad the Impaler, who Dracula is based on,
had a mustache.
Has a big mustache.
Big mustache. Yeah.
He looks just like.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put that together because Vlad totally has like a huge mustache. That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, the inspiration for one of the characters on What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
What is his name on the show? God damn it! Why can't I remember his name?
That's I can't remember now because I know they had. That one, they also had one that was based off of like Salem's Lot style vampire.
Yes. Yeah.
That's such a good movie.
I haven't seen the movie.
You've only seen the show.
I've only seen the show.
You would love the movie.
I've seen like little bits of Nandor. Sorry, I couldn't remember.
Oh, Nandor. Yes.
Nandor.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't remember.
Definitely one of Taika Waititi's best movies.
Really?
What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he kind of did it with him and the group that he used to kind of work with.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they come back in the show at some point, but...
Yeah, that's always the best comedy. People who have worked together for a really long time. Yeah,
because they just
creating their own
each
little
other.
Weird worlds.
Yeah.
Always the best. Okay. I do like the beginning of this where it uses the old production cards.
Actually, I brought that.
Isn't that great? Yes, the original like old logos.
Well, I love it too because like Focus Features did not have an old original logo.
No,
they just like
they
created them, but like I love that they.
The first one was an original logo though.
Yes,
I forget what company, but it was
that one was an original logo.
Yeah.
But I love when they take the time or at least the detail to do that.
Right. Yeah,
I just think like it adds to it. I mean, it's something small and kind of whatever.
But it adds to it for me a
little
lot.
bit. Yeah,
because the going from that to the actual opening of it, where it's in black and white, it's like it looked like an old silent movie. It had the feel, it had the look to it. Obviously, crisper video quality, but
in HD, 4K.
Yeah. Honestly, this movie could have been in black and white all the way through, and I would have really liked that too.
Because I think the original was mostly in sepia.
It's sepia tone, yeah.
Which Honestly, it'd be interesting to see this fully in sepia tone.
That'd be interesting. I don't think sepia tone is as scary as black and
No,
white.
it's not. Especially when you're playing with shadows.
Because sepia is so like washed out.
Yeah.
Like it's so yeah.
It's like it's nice for older films, but yeah, black and white for like horror type of things when you're playing, especially playing with shadows, is a lot better.
Speaking of shadows, I put on. It really paid homage to the original with the shadows.
I love
because you only see him in shadow form in the original for a while, and then
I love that. A lot of the best shots in the original are just like seeing his shadow go up the stairs and his hand going through the door, and it's for that time period was like such a cool thing to do.
Totally.
But like updating it and using it in this just makes it awesome. Of course, now you get all these memes of people being like, now after watching Nosferatu, anytime I open a door, it's just their hand, the shadow of their hand hitting a door, or like the shadow of their hand petting their dog or something.
Yes,
which is hilarious. But yeah, I love that they updated it, but they kept it. And, a lot of his thing is being in the shadows and shadow, and I just love that they really played with that. Still,
and they kept like his Max Schreck's Max Schreck is the one who originally played Count Orlok. They kept a lot of his mannerisms and things like that. He kind of the way he carried himself motions, like this and like
it's like that classic
because everyone can see me doing this right now. Kind of hunch.
Look what I'm doing. Just kidding.
And the historical accuracy too was really nice. At first I was like, the streets look a little too clean, though. But then I was like, oh, it's Germany, it's not England. You always think it's like anything like that. It looks like, oh, it must be England, Yeah. I don't know why my brain immediately goes there, but
I think that was when I went and saw this in the theater. Or when originally, like when the second I saw the old buildings, I was like, oh, England.
Yeah.
And then it's all Germany. I was like, oh, that actually
Germany.
Makes more sense. Never mind.
If it was England, there would have just been shit all over the streets, just disgusting.
Plus, in the story, I'm like, duh, the original was a German movie.
It was a German movie. Yeah. People like dumping their what are those called, bedpan things out the window.
Jesus.
And, it was a little too clean for that time.
It gets progressively worse.
Yeah, it does though. That's true.
As the plague moves in.
What is it, Thomas, main character Thomas?
Yeah.
When he walks into his job, the estate broker's job. And it immediately looked like the Christmas Carol to me.
Oh, yeah. Immediately you're like,
it just goes to Scrooge right away. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. But he's worse than Scrooge. He has syphilis on his head, which I saw immediately.
I love that it was just like, it's not even mentioned, it's just like an added detail.
It's just an added detail because everyone had syphilis.
Didn't Benjamin Franklin die of syphilis?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, and it does make you go crazy sometimes too, so metaphor? I don't know.
That's also what I like about this movie. I think the original kind of did too, but they're using stuff like that, like, oh, like syphilis on the head, and he's going crazy, and he's got this thing, so it kind of, and it, like, that does that to you, so it's kind of like you could blame the disease, or it could be this demon.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it's just the plague. It's like, no, it's not just the plague with the rats that come in the city and stuff. It's actually something else.
Because this was like the age of reason.
Yeah.
It was the age of enlightenment when, well, enlightenment was a different time period, but it was the age of reason where people were using science and they were starting to turn away from all of the superstitious kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Same as like deriding the superstitious villagers or the Romani, or as gypsy.
Yeah.
Not the right word, but
no.
They do use it in the movie.
Derogatory now, yeah. Yeah, because this time period was that where it's like science is coming in more. But I just love it because when you go further and hit the early 1900s, that's when supernatural and spiritualism come in. So it's like doing this back and forth shift.
And then the 40s and 50s was science.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 60s and 70s was spiritualism
again.
And then the 80s went back to...
yeah.
I think we're back into the spiritual woo-woo right now, so...
Yeah, I think we are.
We really are.
Getting back into that.
And not in a good way, though, because people are just thinking that the earth is flat and It's amazing. But anyway, we're regressing in a very bad way.
Well,
but anyway,
that's the thing too, is like whenever you get those periods in time, you can tell that even in the mystic parts of those times, it still moves forward.
It's still moving forward.
Still moving forward. You're just discovering different
now
things.
We're going back.
And I feel like now, it's back to the mysticism, but
it's back to medieval
mysticism, where it's like Earth is flat. The sun revolves around it. Like, it's like, I don't understand.
Living in the new dark age. Anyway.
It's fine. With mass extinction.
Yeah, really. I was like, we need a new play.
Here, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. His fiance seems really crazy at first. Yeah. I mean, she goes from like, oh, lovely, and then to these like kind of raving, he's coming. She says that at the beginning too.
She does.
Yeah.
It's like, because it gets kind of explained later through Willem Dafoe's character too, that she's sensitive to supernatural things and to things like that, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But I love that they're able to tell that story. I love that they were able to add that, like, oh, this is a professor who studies this stuff, and she has this thing.
Yeah. But
they don't ever talk about it as being, like, evil or, like...
No. Well, not
in like a derogatory way.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because it's cool to see, like, oh, this character even back then is, like, open-minded to this whole thing and wants to study it, and he's like, there's good and evil of it, whatever. Of course, you get people like Aaron Taylor Johnson's character Harding, who, God, just feels like the classic misogynist man back then.
Yeah,
a little bit. He obviously loves his family and everything, but you can just tell it's
you're like, oh, this crazy woman,
and tired of the bed kind of situation, and just the way he. It's just the way he talks to her. Like, there's that scene, like, they're on the beach, she's trying to talk to him about where her husband is, and she just, like, takes his hand for a second just for, like, comfort, and he just, like, pulls away super fast.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, gets mad about it. It's like, okay. Don't be a dick. Like, and then he mentions, like, you cannot travel out alone, because it's like back then, like, you have to be accompanied by your husband or something.
Oh, yeah, speaking of that, and speaking of historical accuracy, there was way too much PDA for the 19th century, I think, in that movie. People would like Thomas. What is her name in this? What is the main girl's actual?
I think it's Ellen, but
is Ellen, because I kept hearing Nani, Annie, Ellen. Like, what is her name?
Double check really quick.
But anyway,
it is Ellen. Ellen.
Okay, yeah, Thomas and Ellen, kissing in public. That just would not.
No, you wouldn't do that.
No,
in 1836.
No. They do allude to that though later when the other guy is tries to kiss his wife, and she says, "We're in public."
Yeah, she's like, "We're in public,"
yeah.
And he's like, "I can't resist you."
I simply can't resist.
Also, a lot of out in the open orgasms. No, I'm just kidding.
There was kind of like they started to develop a bit of a subplot with the other guy. Harding, is that his name?
Yeah, Harding. And it's him and his wife. I think her Anne?
I don't know. And the kids, there was two little girls that were creepy.
I don't know. I definitely don't know the kids' names.
Such creepy kids.
He says the kids' names once, so like
after they're in coffins, yeah.
Anna Harding.
Anna. I'm gonna I just have to write stuff down.
Which she was great.
Oh, she was.
I loved that she, like, no matter how crazy Ellen gets, she's like, no, she's my friend. Like, this burden isn't her fault.
Exactly.
Like, this melancholy or whatever they call it. Like,
melancholy.
Because they keep calling it melancholy. It's just like, it's not her fault. This is not like who she is. Whatever. Like, it's like best friend. That's like tried and true. You're ride or die kind of situation.
Yeah.
In her.
Then we see. I am loosely following plot here, by the way, today. I have lots of little points that I've written. We're just talking about stuff. I'm loosely following the plot. For it. But I do like when the Scrooge, I'm just going to call him Ebenezer. Scrooge.
Yeah.
His boss
Thomas' employer
is naked on the floor in a tetragrammaton. I think that's what that's called. Yeah.
Which you find out it's like
number pointed stars.
Orlok's family sigil or something like that.
Yeah,
because he uses it in the wax and all that stuff, so it's like their family crest.
It's a hermetic symbol to summon things, generally demons.
Yeah.
That's like in the Order of the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley. I know way too much about weird occult things. Okay.
I think that helps in this situation.
It really helps in this situation, though.
Whenever he gets to the village and they were doing that ritual at night where they were like searching for the vampire, I think you said you knew the historical part.
Yeah, first of all, I do want to point out, like, when he gets into the village, all the little children rush at him, and it's just terrifying.
That's the scariest part of the movie.
I know, right? That's the scariest thing in the movie.
Children!
And then they all start, like, dancing around, and it reminded me of, like, the podlings in the Dark Crystal all of a sudden.
Oh, my God.
You know, it's that moment where the hero goes to the little... I don't know.
Just talking about Labyrinth, speaking of Jim Henson.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's a movie trope, you know?
Yeah.
But they kind of turned it on its head, obviously. Oh, and then the whole village starts laughing at him because it was supposed to be... I don't know if that part was a dream or if that actually happened. I was very confused by that part.
Oh, like whenever they're dancing around him and everything.
Yeah, they're dancing around, and then all of that guy starts laughing, and then they all start laughing at him.
I think
like, they're all gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, they're all gonna
laugh at you.
I mean, I think they start laughing at him because they're like, this is some foreigner in our land who doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite character was the old babushka in the inn rubbing garlic on the window.
She's like, I cast you out with garlic.
I cast you out. Yeah, and I made the point of saying, like, it would be really funny if someone was like, oh, is that to keep the vampires out? She's like, what?
What vampires?
What vampires? Garlic, it goes on the window.
Garlic's just good for your windows.
But anyway, getting to your part that you were talking about a second ago. They actually used to put a virgin on horseback and ride around cemeteries to point out, like, the horse would get freaked out if it was a vampire's grave.
Oh, God.
But only if there was a virgin on the horse.
Of course.
However...
It's always a virgin.
However, most of the time they used, like, young boys. They didn't use girls.
They didn't use women.
There was not a naked woman, a beautiful woman on the back of a horse. Naked woman. That was totally a movie thing, but usually it'd be like a young boy who's a virgin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like almost a child kind of situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And they would not be naked.
We would hope.
We would hope. But, you know, olden times, who the hell knows?
1800s. 1800s in Transylvania.
Yeah, crazy times.
Speaking of that sequence, though, because that's like on his journey to the castle.
Yeah.
I just want to point out like how beautiful the cinematography is in this movie.
I made a note about that as well.
And the
when
coloring
he's going to the castle,
like the coloring they use for everything, how it's just that kind of grayish, dark, like
it's like a bluish gray.
Yeah,
like, it's beautiful.
But like one of my favorite shots is when it's that shot whenever he wakes up after the vampire situation in the village. Not knowing if it's a dream or not until he sees like his muddy feet.
Yeah.
And then when he's leaving, there's nobody left in the village. They took his horse, and now he's got to walk. One of my favorite shots of that is he comes to a crossroads in the middle of a forest.
That was my favorite shot in the movie.
And
that's funny.
It's just like light snowfall down.
Yeah.
The lighting is beautiful, and then
gorgeous.
you have that carriage come up with the horses. It's just amazing looking.
That was very well done.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like just the locations you get to film in like that. Like even if you built that on a set, you made it look so beautiful. Like it's crazy.
I think it takes something special to make something that has been made into a movie a million fucking times.
Yeah.
And make it new and fresh.
Yeah.
And still
especially
be very loyal to the source material.
I know they've done a lot of versions of Dracula, but this one specifically because it is a remake of an old version.
Yeah.
It was cool to see how he made it his own.
Yeah.
From that.
Yeah.
Because Dracula's been told a million times.
Yeah.
Nosferatu's only really had the 2 movies now.
Yeah, well, 3.
3. Oh,
There
that's
was a
right. There was one in the
70s one.
70s.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I always forget about the Werner Herzog version of
there's a Werner
Nosferatu,
Herzog.
which I think just kind of recreated the old one.
I haven't seen it, but I think so, yeah.
I've seen a lot of shots that were like shot for shot.
Oh, okay.
There were some shots in this they recreated, like when they're walking on the beach with all the crosses. That was in the original one.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the shot of them carrying coffins through the town because of the plague. That was also a shot in the original one as well. Like he kept subtle ones in there that I think he liked that he decided to recreate for it, which, I mean, you might as well. If it's really good, you might as well.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, that's my favorite shot in this one is the crossroads in the forest with the carriage.
That was mine too. That's funny. Yeah.
The cinematography and the rest of it is beautiful, but that shot in particular, amazing. Like, loved that.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And then after that, the carriage going up to the castle, and it's just like, that was a really cool shot too. Very classic, you know.
I hate it too. So I do, like, I do photography stuff.
What? No, just kidding.
I just remember talking to somebody about it like a long time ago, and because they wanted to see some of my pictures, and like a lot of my pictures, because that like I got a lot of inspiration from The Shining and Kubrick, and he used 1-point perspective a lot, which was like the hallway shots. It's like centered and symmetrical.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I love that, and that's what this did. And that shot when it's him down the street, whenever he goes over, it's like symmetrical both sides, and it's like that 1-point shot. And I get told like, this person's like, well, it's a bit amateur, and I'm like, amateur? How about everybody has their own style? That shot is amazing. You can make that shot look amazing. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
People get so high and mighty about them learning how to do things, and it's like, not everything has to do that 3-point whatever rule of thirds. Not everybody, if you don't have to do the rule of thirds to make something look really good, you can make something look good. Anyway, sorry. Side note. I was just like,
wow.
It's like professionals use that. I don't understand. It just upset me. Fuck him. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But yeah, beautiful shot.
I thought I wrote something completely off the fucking rails, but I did not. Okay.
Oh, also, the village part and all that part kind of gave me Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow vibes.
Yeah, totally.
Loved it.
Some of it did.
Especially when the music would come in with the violins, it kind of gave me that weird like, Danny Elfman kind of like Sleepy Hollow vibe a little bit, which, I mean, that's just cool.
You were talking about that beach shot with the crosses, which is funny, because that is where she's... I love her small talk. She's walking along the beach with her friend. Do you ever feel like you're not human?
Do you ever feel like something's taking you over?
Do you ever feel like that? Like there's a demon inside of you?
There's a demon in you. And her friend's like, do you mean God? And she's like, no. It's like something else. It's just like the craziest small talk. Also, the crosses.
So odd.
Even in the original, I was like, is it graves, or did they put those on the beach for the ships because they think it would block out the plague having the crosses on the beach? Because that would make sense for that time period.
Sense. I really don't know. It gave me vibes of what's that movie where the guy's playing chess with death?
The Seventh Seal.
Seventh Seal. It gave me that vibe. Yeah.
I've actually never seen that movie.
I haven't seen the whole thing. I just know a lot of the scenes and how beautiful they are and weird. So I kind of... It just seems like we should just watch that movie.
We should.
Yeah.
I think also, I've heard that movie has a lot of influence on like newer cinematography.
Oh, it totally does. Yeah. It's very like odd.
Yeah. Especially for the time period.
It's like artsy, weird. Speaking of which, we need to watch The Holy Mountain too. Have you ever seen that?
I have seen clips from it.
Oh my god!
I actually had a guy.
That movie is whacked out.
A long time ago, who liked me, who was trying to like get me to come over to watch that movie. Never happened, but I need to watch it because I've seen clips from it, and the cinematography looks insane.
It's amazing. Well, Jodorowsky's amazing. It's amazing. I wish he had done his Dune movie that he was going to do.
Oh, I heard.
He like completely planned out a Dune movie, but it just never.
And they were like, no.
Yeah. Well, it was just too. It was too fucking weird, honestly. And people were like, we can't make this. Like, we don't have enough money to make this.
I mean, too weird. I mean, by the third book, you have a...
Oh my god.
You have a kid's face in a sandworm. Like,
into a sandworm. I mean, come on. We go back to the castle, and he's in the castle. I'm talking like Jeff. We go back to the castle. And those claws, honey.
The nails.
Those nails. It's just like...
She got French tips. French tips in Romanian.
I just wanted him to do the little, hands up, like, dunk,
Trixie.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about, yeah. Like...
He just, for some reason, Nicholas Hoult looks over, he for some reason has a keyboard, and it's like... For no reason. He's putting somebody on hold on a phone.
I'm sorry,
his nails.
Mr. Dracula's not in right now.
Not even right. But his hands. So... in the castle too. The castle looked amazing.
It looked like hell, which is cool.
It was so cool
because the fireplace, they made it look like it was like hellish. Like
the lighting cool. When they just use candles on the fire, crazy. It was so cool. But later on in the castle, whenever he actually tries to escape and then sees him at his coffin,
yeah,
when he stands up, obviously you see full frontal, for a little bit,
yeah.
So what was funny about it is there was like a behind the scenes video that I saw that apparently they, as a gift to Nicholas Hoult after they finished wrapping the movie, they took the prosthetic of Orlok's penis and framed it and gave it to him as a present. he has a framed prosthetic of his penis for it, which is funny.
Could they not use Bill's penis?
Maybe it just didn't look gross enough.
It didn't look weird. He doesn't have a weird penis.
I don't know. I'd have to see it.
I would like to see it. Even if it is weird, I don't care.
Can we get that?
Gives it character. It gives it character.
Diane, can we add that to the list?
Diane, can we add that? I like it when he is feeding on Thomas. When he bites
God. It's the sucking sounds. Get me a little bit.
Well, I liked it just because it was like it's way more animalistic than the romantic, Dracula who's like, I don't know, like bites you on the neck and everything. Yeah.
Though this is that like weird contrast of like this is a weirdly dark romance movie, but he is way more animalistic. So it's like it's creepy but romantic. It's like the contrast, because even the original Nosferatu does not get that crazy animalistic.
No.
I mean, he's got the claws, but he doesn't get that crazy animalistic. Obviously, it was the 20s, so
exactly.
But it was a cool contrast of the way he looked and his animal, like him being an actual animal.
Yeah.
Because even in the book later on, when they're looking through the book and they see the picture of him. He looks more like an animal. Yeah,
he's like a incubus or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's great about
incubus is the male one, right?
Yes, succubus is the female. Okay. What's great about that scene too is they have that build up of music and music build up, and then whenever he is finally doing it, music goes away, and all you can hear is him sucking the blood out of him. Yeah. I'm like, ugh, crazy. But I liked the way they did that.
Yeah. And I guess he still has the rat teeth of the original one because he has two little punctures in there. So
it's like two punctures on top, and then there's like 3 on the bottom or something. There's like 2 on the bottom. So he's got like the kind of like pincher thing. But it makes sense to like a rat teeth.
In the original, he has more of like a rat face.
He has those 2 rat teeth.
Yeah, he has the 2 rat teeth.
Max Schreck did a really good job. So.
Oh God, yeah, that's great.
Especially for the 20s.
Yeah, the makeup's great. His acting's great in that.
And in this, the prosthetics for him are crazy.
Yeah.
You can't even tell it's Bill Skarsgård.
No, not at all. In fact, I love the profile view of him when you really get to see him for the first time by the moonlight.
In the light,
confronts Ellen.
Lily Rose.
Yeah. Just that, like, when he steps into the window and you get that profile finally of him, it's just really cool. It's like that kind of Skeksis thing where there's a small head out of a big body kind of thing. Yeah.
Because that's what was cool about it too, is like even when you do see his face and you see him, they really keep him in shadow for like the longest time. And for most of it.
For almost the whole thing.
Yeah. And you do get that shot of him in the moonlight, but I do like the fact that they really just keep him as basically a silhouette. Because it's like it's hard for you to make out the features, which I think makes it creepier because then you're trying to make it out, but it like kind of distorts it. Yeah, it makes it even creepier than it might be if it's just completely lit up. I mean, you do see it towards the end in the sunlight.
Very lit up,
very lit up, which it still looks good.
Well, I mean, the death is like amazingly like I just thought that was really cool.
It was a beautiful shot.
It was so cool.
It was crazy
with his face just like
I love because it wasn't like normal To me, like normal vampire type of stuff, where it's like immediately burst into flames,
Where they just
and
turn to
ash.
dust, or yeah.
Because even like
It was more gruesome, and I liked it.
yeah, because even like one of my favorite vampire movies, Let the Right One In. There's a woman who gets turned on accident, pretty much, and she's in the hospital because she's been sick and whatever, and they don't know it. And he pulls back the curtain, and immediately she just bursts into flames.
Yeah,
and it's a really amazing shot. But it is like classic vampire thing to be burst into flames, turned to ash. Like
I like the idea of him expelling all of the blood inside of him.
Yeah,
and then he becomes this withered little skeleton.
because that's all he's been living off of.
Yeah.
God, and the inhale.
The breathing.
Crazy.
The constant heavy breathing.
I mean, it really added to him being like a really old lord,
like undead,
withered undead old lord.
Totally.
But yeah, it's a lot.
Because I think, you know what, he only breathed in before he spoke, so I think like he didn't actually have to breathe. He only had to if he had to talk.
That's true.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. That makes a lot of sense.
That's yeah.
And he's not used to talking, so he's like,
yeah.
Man, you gotta love that old time medicine.
I literally said these old medical practices.
Here, have some ether.
Yeah, let me just put ether on your face.
Do you need some more opium?
Make sure she sleeps in her corset so that it pushes the blood away from her womb.
Oh, and they're like, she has too much blood. You gotta keep taking it out.
You gotta bloodlet her to clear her sinuses.
She has too much blood.
Too much blood.
I love it. I mean, it's just.
I just love that they thought that was a medical condition back then. That your body had too much blood.
It's insane. Well, it's because that was one of the humors was sanguine or something, which means you have too much blood. Yeah.
It's just too much. You just have too much.
Insane.
And then he's like, she's like, is her menstruation do whatever? And it's just like, it's something with her menstruation, then it's too much blood, then it's wearing a corset to keep the circulation going and keep her sleeping in good posture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Amazing. The doctor later, you see him like doing a little bump too.
Oh yeah,
the
like cocaine crap. What I love too is whenever they get Thomas's employer and they end up putting him in a cell because he's going crazy. Mm-hmm. He's like, I told you, stop using the cells. This is a modern hospital. And I'm like,
this is a modern
hospital. And it's like obviously accurate for back then, but it's still insane.
So yeah, speaking of him, the boss becomes the Renfield of the story, the servant of Das Vampir.
Yeah, I think at the end he said he was supposed to be the king of rats or whatever.
Oh yeah, there is something about that. Yeah, the king of rats. Is that in the book? I don't know. I just know that that's.
It sounds like a vampire thing.
The book like kind of integrates in my head with all the movies, so I can't remember what is in the book and what isn't at this point because there's so many movies.
The book is from Renfield's journal, right? Isn't it Renfield's journal?
Yeah, yes. I'm not sure. It's someone's journal.
Okay.
Well, at first it's the main like Thomas in this story,
which would
journal.
be Renfield probably.
And then it goes it goes back and forth, I think, because then it goes to like the account of his wife or fiance, and then it goes I think it goes back and forth throughout the book. And then there's letters and things like that. Yeah.
I'm forgetting because I've never read the book, but I've seen Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder. I'm always forgetting how similar the story is, because Nosferatu is just based off. I mean, it's literally just I visited him, he came over, he fell in love with my wife, whatever.
Yeah, sells property to the count.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Comes over on a ship.
Yeah, which I did actually write the Demeter down because we obviously get to see a little bit of the ship in this story.
Yeah. I have not seen that movie.
No, I think the ship is called the Demeter in the book.
I think so.
They did make a movie called The Last Voyage of the Demeter recently. I think it came out like last year or 2 years ago. I didn't hear great things about it. I still wanted to watch it just to see, but it seemed like Dracula was mostly CGI'd in it and like weird like bat creature. And I'm like, I feel like that story could actually be really cool.
Yeah.
If you were to make it like the actual voyage and not overly CGI.
Yeah. I don't know. Also, that kind of reminds me of like...
They tried something new with the Dracula story.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of reminds me of like what they did with some Star Wars stuff. Where it's like the Obi-Wan thing. I'm like, I don't care. I already know what happens.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't care.
It's like we know from where he is to where he's going that all these people are gonna die.
Exactly. I don't need that little part of the story that we miss. Like
To
between
be
this and
dragged
this
out
year,
for
you know?
this long. Yeah.
It just
I felt like
hated it.
I felt like this one spent a good amount of time on it. Where it was like we get to see the ship, we get to see what's going on the ship in like pieces and all that stuff. We didn't have to have like a whole story.
Yeah, I don't need it.
It just worked.
Yeah.
Like, and this worked, which I think that's how the book is too. It's not like
it's a small
it's like
part
a
of the
small
book.
part of
I mean,
the
it's
book.
not. I really like the melodrama in this movie too. Like they really went for like almost silent movie acting to the point where it's very melodramatic.
And that's the thing too, is
really
like overall the movie, while it does have like modern things and things that wouldn't be in a 1920s horror movie because of the time period.
Yeah.
It still feels like a classic horror movie. It
does.
still feels like an old horror
It really
movie.
did.
And I think, the thing can be kind of actually said for a lot of his movies, because even like The Witch feels like an old horror movie. Oh, that's the other thing. Ralph Ineson is the dad in that too, so he was actually in The Witch too.
Okay.
But yeah, it feels like an old horror movie.
I want to see that movie, The Witch.
I think you would like it.
Because I see like the cast photos or whatever where the devil goat standing behind them and like a family.
It's always
picture,
Black
you know?
Phillip. Yeah.
I really like that. That's funny.
And everybody, the quote from that movie that got passed around forever was, "Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?"
Oh, I didn't know that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was Anya Taylor-Joy's like first movie too. Was The Witch, her first like big movie.
I don't know who that is. It's not like Jiminy. Like I don't know who that is.
She's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, she was in The Menu,
The Menu.
Queen's Gambit.
I didn't see either one. Sorry.
Just kidding. Recently, she played Furiosa in Mad Max Furiosa.
Okay.
Okay. She's been in a lot of stuff.
Do you know what I have an issue with?
What?
This is an issue I have with the Dracula story in general, and maybe
It's me. You have an issue with me. I get it. I'm just kidding.
like I mean, I can't call myself a geography whiz, but
Oh God.
you know, I had to look at it myself. What the fuck sea are they traversing in between Romania and Germany? There's no body of water. Like, why would they go all the way around Europe? Like, I don't understand.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe, because there are the Alps in between that. So maybe that was like, it was easier to go all the way around Europe to go to Germany. Maybe. Like from the Mediterranean, or that, not the Mediterranean.
No, see,
from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean.
That actually might make sense because he's traveling on a ship. But Nicholas Hoult is just riding back on a horse. So he's going through the land and he's going through the mountains.
Oh, and that's why he got back even before him because it took
he is
forever to
going
go
around.
Wow.
It's probably because that's the only way he could get transported.
That makes sense. I mean,
is like if it was a trade route type of situation.
It must be it would be really hard to get across all those mountains to Germany, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because I just thought about that. Yeah, because he travels by horse to and back.
You could use elephants. Hannibal did it.
He's older than Hannibal.
Yeah. I don't know if that's actually a true story or not. I feel like that's like a exaggerated story of Hannibal.
Oh, I thought that was a exaggerated story.
I feel like that's exaggerated.
Maybe he did, but maybe it wasn't elephants.
It was like one elephant, and it died right away.
It was white elephant.
My favorite medical practice in this movie is driving a needle through someone's arm. For no
God!
Reason.
She was like Lily Rose Depp is possessed, and he's like, just to show you that she's not with us, let me stick this needle in her wrist. And they're like, "What are you doing?" She's like, she can't feel it. I'm like, yeah, but I can on the outside. Please stop doing that.
Is that why he did that? I thought it was.
I know, but also, why the wrist? Just do it in the shoulder or something. Just poke her in the shoulder. Why do you have to do it right in the wrist?
I didn't quite get that. Well, because there's bones that are the needle can go in between.
Oh,
there.
Yeah, but God, I just feel like I can feel it when people do that.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny is like, I always was so terrified of like horror and like things like gory things,
Yeah.
and things like that. And like the more but yet like that stuff doesn't faze me that much because I was watching and I was like, ha.
Well, I
Like,
hate
found it funny for some reason. I don't know
when
what
it's
it
like
is.
when it's like over the top. It's
Yeah.
like fine.
Yeah,
When it's like small things that I feel like are a little
I
more
see what you mean.
realistic.
Yeah.
I think I brought up the Black Swan with that hangnail situation.
Ugh.
I felt like I could
Yeah.
feel that while I was
Yeah.
watching it. It was not fun.
No.
And this is like, yeah, it's just a needle going to your arm. Like I feel that.
Yeah.
When it's
I get
like
that.
something crazy, like somebody shooting a nail gun at somebody's face, I'm like, okay. But yeah, I felt like I could feel it a little bit. Well, and she goes crazy after that.
Yeah.
And I hate it because there's like so many people criticizing her acting in this.
Really?
In comments, just like stupid people.
Why?
And I'm sitting there like, whether or not you think she did even a little bit bad, she threw her full self into that character.
Yeah.
Like, and I read something before it came out that she actually put herself through a lot of distress because she wanted to do it fully. So like it kind of like wore her down a little bit during it. It's because she like put her full self into like those scenes. Well, and one of them was like, it's the scene where she starts getting taken over as she's yelling at Thomas about just like selling her for gold or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see her like jolting around and stuff. People are like, oh, her acting. I'm like, the acting was one, great. And two, she said that she took inspiration from the movie Possession, where that woman is being possessed and like, so when she's like freaking out and like they call it like free acting or something. They did it in the first Omen too, where she's like before everybody shows up and she's like freaking out and just like it's where you let yourself go completely and just let whatever's gonna happen kind of happen. Yeah. And I feel like that was a really good place to get inspiration from because Possession, that woman did that. Like that was like the first time you really see that was that movie. So I feel like it was a really good way to get inspiration to like do the possession scenes where it's like you really just need to lose yourself completely to it, and she did, and I thought she did amazing. Yeah, especially being her like first like big movie. I think like she was fantastic.
I think she's great.
Yeah,
I kind of want to start smoking just to smoke Willem Dafoe's long pipe.
Oh my god, that pipe is amazing.
So cool.
Also, I forgot that they put real candles on Christmas trees back then.
Yep. Yeah.
So many house fires.
Isn't that insane? I mean, you could not let that thing dry out.
Oh my god. Missed it constantly. Because I remember
crazy.
in like, I don't know what, middle school, elementary school, we used to do field trips to the Rawson house here. And they take you through, because it's all like left the way it was from back in 17, 18, whatever. Like it's because it's next to the Arizona Science Center.
I haven't been.
But they have a Christmas tree during Christmas set up the way they used to with the candles, fake candles.
Oh yeah.
Because they would tell you
they
like,
don't want to burn it down.
Yeah, they would tell you like, you know how many house fires were. I'm like, yeah, no shit. You're putting real candles on a Christmas tree. Yeah, those limbs are not strong. No, and it dries out so
they're
fast.
flammable.
And it's flammable. But I totally forgot about that until they did it in this, and he's like lighting his pipe on the candle.
So funny. His steampunk looking pipe.
Oh my god! I feel like his character was meant to not only explain, but also to add levity and a little bit of campness to it.
Oh, totally, because his character was very camp.
It's just funny old century camp.
I really enjoyed it.
18th century camp.
Yeah. 19th century camp.
19th century camp.
This was 1850 something, I think.
1836? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that the 19th century? Am I crazy?
Yeah, you go one ahead.
It's one. Okay.
Yeah, 19th century is 1800s.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know centuries.
The city gets taken over by the rats from the ship. They're plague rats. I have a hard time when there's like tons of rats in a movie running around because I have always had pet rats and I think they're cute.
Oh yeah.
So, and I know that the ones that they use in movies are pet rats,
they're
adorable.
Yeah.
So, like, it never makes me like squeamish or anything. No. I don't care.
I mean, at least you know that even if you're seeing rats die or something in a movie, it's not really them getting killed in the movie because they can't do that. Yeah. So. I mean, I always have to tell myself that about dogs dying.
If it's like pre-1950 something, probably they might have killed it. But
I always have to tell myself that about dogs dying in horror movies. Like, they didn't actually kill the dog.
They didn't actually.
Dog's not really dead.
Exactly.
That's a puppet.
He's fine.
We're good. The cat's alive.
The kids are creepy again when they have to go to bed and say the nighttime prayer thing.
Oh my god! Okay, I
They're so
actually
creepy.
made a note of that.
Creepy.
First of all, that one prayer is used in so many horror movies.
Well, yeah.
Silent Hill, bunch of horror movies.
Yeah.
I hate that prayer so much because who in their right mind tells their kids to say, if I should die before I wake? That's so
weird.
Creepy.
It's weirdly morbid.
And I know it's like, oh, if something happens, the Lord will save me. It's like, yeah, but that sounds creepy that you're telling your child to say if they die in their sleep.
It's strange.
And I know it probably comes from some old thing whenever children were probably dying in their sleep or people were dying in their sleep, but it's still creepy.
The following views are my own and not the views of
horror legend as a podcast.
But Christianity in general is a death cult. I mean, come on.
I would like to go on record and say that these are the views of horror legend.
They're just so excited to die, you know?
It's crazy.
Because they're like, that's why they don't care what happens to the earth, because heaven's going to be amazing. So who cares?
Yeah, unless you're Jewish because you believe that heaven is attainable on earth.
Yeah.
And hell's not a real place.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
My head hurts. Okay.
It's always been a really creepy pair to me. But speaking of religion in the movie, because I know he ends up meeting like sisters at like a monastery or some church, and they end up healing him. Thomas.
Oh, he's at an Orthodox church.
Church.
Yeah, which I love their outfits.
Here's the thing.
I will say, the Orthodox church has really cool aesthetic.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I am not... And this is my opinion and not the expressed opinion. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a huge fan of organized religion.
Well, God,
as a whole.
Yeah.
God, no. But the aesthetics, the architecture, the outfits...
Oh, the aesthetics of Catholicism and Orthodox
beautiful
Christianity gorgeous.
It's like
the aesthetics
it's
of like
the
American
paintings,
Christianity,
the artwork. Yeah, unless you're going somewhere like St. Patrick's Cathedral, that's like.
But then that's Catholicism, which is always opulent.
Yeah, it's
opulence.
Like
opulence.
Opulence. You pray with everyone. But it's like, yeah, it's the gold. It's like the things that were obviously hand painted. It's the nun outfits. Like everything is just so like it has this aesthetic.
Totally does. Yeah.
Which I think is why I like a lot of like demon supernatural horror movies, like the first Omen or even the Omen, because it has that aesthetic in it, and it's just really cool.
I do like
again the mythology is really cool.
Exactly. I do like that this one had like Orthodox stuff, because like you never see like Orthodox Christianity in things, you know.
Was she also speaking Latin?
And they all look like
okay.
No, the nun?
The old nun that was talking.
She was speaking like Romanian or something. Yeah, no. She was speaking some Slavic language.
That makes sense.
Oh, excuse me.
It's because it sounded almost Italian-ish.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Who knows?
But I feel like Romanian makes sense. I just know that because a lot of in Catholicism, like the original Bible and everything, were written in Latin.
Aramaic or Aramaic, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead languages.
Dead languages.
Dead languages.
I think Aramaic was related to like Babylonian language or something. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do like that the Orthodox nuns look like sisters from Dune. Which I love. Anyway,
I love the contrast too. Whenever he finally rides away, and she's like, "You're not well," but it's like just the shot of him riding away, and you see the sister facing away from the camera in her black robes, and the contrast of the super bright like snow ground, whatever. It just looks so cool when they do that stuff.
The city is like completely, overrun with plague and dead in the streets and stuff. And at this point I wrote down, isn't it like great how we romanticize the olden times, and they were really disgusting.
We really, I feel like
terrible.
As a society we really like to pick and choose the parts of those times that we think were cool.
And we do like to say that everything's so much worse now, but it's not.
It's no.
Because
like obviously it's
that
not
was bad.
Obviously it's not great.
Obviously it's not great, But
we're not still
the dead aren't
going to
lying in the
bathroom.
streets.
Yeah, we're not going to the bathroom in pots and pouring them out the windows.
Exactly.
We don't have to deal with rat plagues and like slavery.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, going back to like the death cult thing. Like my mom or something would be like, "This is the end times because everything's horrible." And I'm like, "No, it's slowly." It goes backwards, but it's getting better, little by little.
Occasionally, we get knocked back, but you
obviously.
what a lot of people need to understand is you cannot stop change, and you
Exactly.
cannot stop things moving forward.
No,
It can't, it's never going to happen. The universe is never going to let that happen. Like, it's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, people really like to pick and choose.
Oh, totally.
What you like. So when you get movies like this that accurately portray a lot of the stuff that was happening back then, it's like...
Although they did make it a little cleaner.
Yeah,
So,
a little cleaner. But it's like, this is what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. People were dying in the streets of plague.
Yeah.
We're not doing that now.
and people were in like 50 layers of clothing because they didn't shower. And all of this like absorbed their sweat, and then that way they could change out their undergarments.
Yeah.
But keep their outer stuff the same.
Also,
disgusting.
for women, it's a choice now to wear a corset if you want to. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
That's the thing is like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you want to do certain things, you do it. But now you don't have to do it.
No.
It's a choice you can
Exactly.
make to do it.
Exactly.
Which is always better.
Yeah, that's true.
Than it being forced on you.
Lastly, he recreated the original kind of bedroom scene where Count Orlok comes in, the shadow creeping up the stairs.
Yes.
It was basically like really recreating the...
I loved the shadow moving through the house, but I loved the second it panned over and I saw the handle of the staircase. I was like,
yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
The recreation. Oh, wait. Going back to the possession scene. Okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot I had a note about that. Yeah. I saw a comment somebody made that, like, Nicholas Holt's character is obviously also a little freak, considering she's like going to that whole possession thing, and they still end up banging.
Yeah, that was
and it's like obviously you were a little into this.
Yeah,
to get going that much.
was she like putting off an entrancement as well? I don't know.
Something weird.
That was confusing to me. Honestly, I was confused.
It was like I was just sitting there thinking, like, oh, so you're a little into it.
Yeah,
you're a little into it. Yeah. You just want to admit you're a little into it. Just be proud. But yeah, the ending scene where they recreated the shadows, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the entrance to the house that Orlok ends up buying. How it's just they have to go down the canal in a boat to this house, and it's the front looks big, but not until they get into it when they're like, "There's a chapel on the other side of the courtyard." I'm like, "How big is this mansion?" There's a chapel in this mansion.
That's great.
And I just love that even at that moment, Willem Dafoe's character just goes full tilt. It was like, destroy everything.
Yeah.
Destroy everything. You can run back all you want. It's not going to make a difference. Like, he just starts laughing and it goes full crazy for a second. And then, of course, they don't make it back in time. Orlok makes it to her. She sacrificed herself on purpose. Because then the sun comes up.
Yeah. While
he's feeding on her. Yeah. And just that death scene
it's really good.
It's good. It's so good.
Really good.
I even think even my friend who doesn't really get unsettled by a lot of things is not scared of scary movies. He said that like that scene was probably the creepiest part to him, the way he looked whenever he died.
Oh god, yeah.
And
I just thought it looked cool.
It looked so cool. Like it's creepy, but it looks so cool.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was a really beautiful way to end it. Plus, Willem Dafoe puts around the flowers, and then you get the last shot of the bed.
Yeah.
And the flowers are the same ones that he brought to her before he left.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice like connection.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
And she was saying like they'd be dead.
He's like, why did you kill these flowers?
But yet they were still alive.
Put them in water. Yeah. Still alive.
Well, that's that.
Yes.
That's Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
It was good. I really enjoyed it.
No, I thought he did such a good job. Like, because, I mean, we all know remakes of horror movies can go one way or the other. I feel like this one's old enough to, like, doing a remake isn't really that big of a deal whatever. But he did an amazing job. Like, did not pull his punches on filmmaking.
No.
The beauty of it, the storytelling, it was so good.
It was really good. It just like looked and felt like a classic movie, which I really enjoyed.
Like it definitely felt like a modern take on a classic movie, but it still had the feeling of a classic movie.
Yeah.
And I love it when people can do that. It's like I think I said this to you whenever we watched the first Omen, that when directors keep like, oh, the original, it's supposed to take place in the 70s.
Yeah.
And when somebody adds in shots that are very 70s looking, like not just like, no, I'm not talking about like set pieces or costumes. I mean like the way that they film it.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like that shot was very popular in the 70s, the way they did it. And I felt like he kept a lot of that in to this one, where it was, you had moments where it was just like that tableau of like, oh, it looks like we're watching a stage play.
Yep.
Because that's how they filmed movies back then.
Yeah, it really had that classic movie.
Very like
40s type of.
I don't want to say like one-dimensional, two-dimensional, but that's how it kind of was. Is because they would set it up like a play, and then they would kind of because they didn't do fancy camera tricks and stuff back then. It was film it like you're watching a play,
and it was like a lot of painted backdrops and things like that. And even like when he was going up to the castle, it was like kind of a tableau, and it almost could be like a painting, you know.
It's really I feel like he just did that really well. I'm excited to see what he does next, because he's such a good director, and the fact that he wants to keep doing movies that are not overly modern is really cool, because nobody really does that anymore. No. So it's especially horror movies.
Yeah.
It's cool to see somebody do horror movies.
And it was, those time periods. Just I liked the gothy vibe, the whole thing.
Oh, classic gothy vibe.
It was so
like,
gothy.
Come on.
it was that frilly lace gothy, you know, that type of I gave this 5 out of 5 plague rats.
I don't know. See, when I did this on Letterboxd, I gave it 4.5, but I'm probably going to change mine to 5 out of 5 after watching it again, just because I really think this is.
Yeah.
One, I do like his other movies. I think this is his best movie,
and
it is kind of a masterpiece.
It really is. I liked it a lot.
So I think I'm gonna have to change that to 5 out of 5. God, I don't even. 5 out of 5 prosthetic penis.
Nice. That's perfect. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode.
And our live dumpster.
Of this American Life. No, horror legend. I didn't say it at the beginning, but I am your horror weenie, Chris.
And I am the horror buff legend.
And we will see you next time. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell the people who you sleep with. I don't know. Tell your grinder hookups.
Tell your hookups.
Jesus. Until next time. Goodbye.
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 Goodbye.